Okay, so this is group 1, so they have from day 1 to 4 weeks gestation.
Are you ready?
We're ready.
Okay. First off, sorry, ladies. Pregnancy sucks.
Oh my gosh.
It messes up your body, and so does birth control. So, apologies. You just have to be there, and it's not a great thing for you guys. But you get a wonderful being, and it's a miracle. So I think people don't realize how much a miracle it is to have a baby, because a lot of babies are lost between 20 weeks and less. I mean, more so even to the 4th week. A lot of women don't even realize that they're pregnant, and it's just a normal menstrual cycle or a heavy menstrual cycle, and then you go on. So it's pretty crazy to think that a lot of people could be pregnant and are not. So a lot of mistaken babies. Anyway, so we are the 1st week through the 4th week, and we're here to represent and give you visualization of what happens in those weeks. So as you guys are menstruating, you want to find out the best time to have a baby would be in your, in the middle of your menstrual cycle. If you guys don't know, there's an app apparently nowadays that you can keep track. Apparently none of you guys don't like to keep track. I don't know, whatever. But it's not a thing that I like to know, so it's not a big deal. So the best time for a fun time is in the middle of your menstrual cycle. You're fully ovulating and you're popping out eggs. Little egg comes out from the ovary, and when the male ejaculates, he ejaculates about more or less 250 million sperms. As you can see, I am all white. I am representing a sperm that is at this point in time trying to penetrate this egg. So as the sperm travels through your vagina and through your cervix, it's trying to end up fertilizing the egg that has released.
Question. Where is it going to fertilize this egg?
The egg will fertilize, so everyone's aware, and it was on the test, in the fallopian tube.
Thank you.
So,
Just so y'all know, that might be on the test again next time.
because the only point of the ovaries is to deliver the egg. So once the egg is ready, it little flips out from the ovary and floats into the fallopian tube. As it's moving through the fallopian tube, the all 250 million sperm is trying to get to that point to fertilize this egg. In 10 hours, there will only be 400 sperm left. So 400 to this one trying to penetrate this egg to be, as we are now, people. So when the egg is fertilized, it is also called a zygote. At that point, usually we are now trying to get to implantation. From that point, the egg, the zygote, is constantly changing and having mitosis and breaking into stages of multiple cells. They're constantly, it still looks like an egg, but inside there is the chromosome makeup of your eye color and everything that DNA is making to make that person eventually become who they are. Okay, so from there, you might have mild symptoms. It's very early. You might not have any symptoms. That's why there's so many babies that don't make it. But your mild symptoms could be cramping. Your girls upstairs will be a little tender, you know. Your sex drive might increase. So you might be having a little more fun activities, but who knows? Your temperature will increase. So that gives you another idea of when you're ovulating or when something in your body is happening. So like I said, we are changing in multiple we're having multiple changes with the zygote. So from the zygote, once we enter the uterus, we change into what they call is a blastocyte. And from there, Brooke's going to tell you what this blastocyte is doing.
Okay, well, before it becomes a blastocyte, it takes 3 or more days for the zygote to travel down the fallopian tubes into the uterus using a fluid current. From here, the cells begin to divide during a process called cleavage. And the cells clump together into one big clump, and from here they join together and hollow out and become a blastocyte. From here, it implants into the side of the uterus. Just like so. Lovely texture. From here, yes.
Okay. So the stage of the embryo starts at day 15. This is the 3rd week after conception and continues to approximately week 8. The embryo gets to the size of about 3 centimeters, and during the embryonic stage, tissues turn into essential organs and the external features start to develop. The embryo is the most vulnerable to the rock acts at this time. So don't do those. Those are bad. Okay. You can take a peek at my drugs later. Grade A. So in weeks 2 to 3, the liver starts to function, and the embryo is about 2 millimeters from crown to rump, and the blood circulation and tubular heart starts to develop. This is Frankie the fetus. This is the most advanced organ, and the heart starts beating at about day 28. At week 4, the embryo is about 4 to 6 millimeters and weighs about 0.4 grams. The mouth starts to form and also the stomach. And then noticeable little limbs start to form also. There's a fabulous table on page 148 in our book.
Oh, so some of the things we didn't really go over, but this at any point in time, you decide you think you want to have a baby, you should always increase your folic acid. 400 micrograms of folic acid to be exact. And the reason for that is because we don't want any what's it called?
Neural tube defects.
I'm sorry.
Neural tube defect.
Yes, that. So beforehand, it's always good. If you're ever considering having a baby, it's safe for the baby, and we continue on to that point. But there's many types of miscarriages at any point in time. Like we said, the number 1 cause is the chromosomes. Too many X's, too many Y's at one point in time, and the baby's lost. Like I said, it has to be a perfect thing happening in your body. So teratogens are the next best thing. We have the drugs, the alcohol, the fun stuff that we're not supposed to be doing. The other thing is just wrong implantation. At some point in time, the egg gets, the zygote decides, hey, I'm tired of floating around, I'm just gonna land here. And most of the time it lands in the fallopian tube, which can cause major hemorrhaging bleeding and more or less I wouldn't say fake pregnancies, but a phantom pregnancy. So your body thinks there is a baby there and you gain weight and just nothing's there. You just realistically get fat and then you just lose it, I guess. I'm not really sure. I didn't really get into that, but it's just a
I'll
fake
clarify.
pregnancy.
We'll clarify. Actually, if it were to land in the fallopian tube and was implanted, it would be an ectopic pregnancy.
I was getting to that point. But yeah, more or less, we have molar pregnancies that we have to worry about. And at that point, that is the fake pregnancy. As you can see, implantation also, when we're, like I said, the implantation is very critical in the uterus for a baby to be successful in their future life. So at this point, we've talked about everything what happens in what visually you cannot see. And what we want to show you is that at this point in the 4th week, usually every woman will come across this time in their life and pick up one of these, which I am currently, if you don't understand, let me inform you, I am a pregnancy test. This can be a stressful day or it could be a happy day. And each woman at one point in time will decide their fate at that point. So as we're in the 4th week, one of the things we might need to do is, if we think we're pregnant, we're having these feelings, we're gonna go get a pregnancy test. And since my colleagues didn't want to dress up with me, you wouldn't just get one, of course, you would get probably a couple boxes. But first response, we're not talking. First response is usually, I wouldn't say my joke to you because I was kind of weird, but I wanted to say that. But here we are. So the 4th week, we will demonstrate what you would do. We'll notionally show you what happens, but if you guys don't know how to use a pregnancy stick, obviously you take the cap off and you pee on the stick.
Oh no.
So at that point in time,
I love it.
the anxiety increases and
You have to wait about 2 to 3 minutes.
2 to 3 minutes.
This is like when your heart's really beating and you're like, oh God, like, am I in trouble or not?
Yeah, go ahead. After the 2 minutes, you either celebrate or you cry, because I don't know what happens next. The decision is yours. That's what happens in 1 to 4 weeks.
Awesome. Good job. Visualization. Perfect. Good creativity. Okay, next group. I'll let y'all start getting ready. Jamie, you said you emailed me?
Yeah.
Let's see if I got it yet. I have not. Let me look at my. Jamie, send it to me again. It didn't come through. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna measure.
Anybody want to look at my drugs? That was right.
Pero yeah, that is, doing this so you look big. Never had that much fun.
You can eat 'em. And sure, after. See what they do with the presentation.
These are funny.
And I was gonna get
You can open them and
the amniotic fluid, pero I wanted to pull the baby out so you could see it. So if I would have done it first. I have some.
Did it go yet?
go with your plan.
There we go.
Let me refresh my.
My RAM. Okay, dude.
So you don't want to get an orange?
Yeah, Rachel got everybody to make sure it's the right numbers. I didn't do it.
No. Perfect. It's just the PowerPoint's extra information.
If y'all want to go ahead, I'll see if it comes through. It just hasn't come through yet. If you're saying, do you need it for the presentation or is it after?
Kind of during.
Okay, hold on. Still not here.
Ours isn't as funny, is it? Unless you want to see me dance, that would be probably as funny as joke.
I'm not here.
Okay.
If it comes, if I get it, I'll upload it to Facebook server or Facebook, upload it to Canvas so everybody has it. Okay, so this is group 2.
We have week 5 and 6. Some of ours does overlap a little of theirs. Because you do mostly miss your period and you do find out that you're pregnant. A lot of people don't do a positive pregnancy test till week 5. So, and go ahead.
Okay. At week 5, the length is about 8 millimeters. Just imagine a little orange seed. And it's only about 0.5% of the total weight is fat. Nervous system, brain has differentiating and coronal nerves are present. Muscular system is developing. Muscles are innervating. It's like a little shrimp in the image. Cardiovascular system, arterial division has occurred. The baby is starting to look more like a baby. Their head is taking shape, cheeks and chin and jaw are beginning to form. In week 6 of the pregnancy, you may feel truly pregnant. And symptoms like heartburn, nausea, and frequent urination is quite common at this time. And the length at six weeks is 12 millimeters, about the size of a pomegranate. I did not get any pomegranates. It's out of season.
Syracuse store doesn't have pomegranate. just so you know.
Bone regiment present. Skeletal shapes taking form. Muscle mass beginning to develop. And the skull and jaws starting to become more present in the imaging. Chambers are present in the heart. Groups of blood cells can be identified at this point. Okay. The direct and indirect effects of terogenic products found in the environment is something that can cause or raise the risk for birth defects in any baby, pretty much at any stage, but also, as Joe's group said, at their time it's very sensitive, and this time is also sensitive because it's still developing. For example, neurotube closes in the first 3 to 5 weeks of the pregnancy. During this time, teratogens can cause neurotube defects such as spina bifida. Something that can cause or raise the risk for a birth defect in the baby. They are things that our mother may be exposed during pregnancy, like chemicals, smoke around them, the environment. Let's say they work in a radioactive plant for some reason. The radiation will affect them, or they handle drugs at a pharmacy and they're not wearing the proper protection while handling the drugs. They can absorb some through their skin and it may pass the placenta and go to the baby.
In week 6, like the first group said, the tiny heartbeat is detected, and it only beats about 105 beats per minute. And it is detected on ultrasound. You can't palpate it with the Doppler yet. And on ultrasound, it is seen, but it's very tiny, as it's shown here. And here at 5 weeks, it looks like this. And at 6 weeks, it looks like here. Somebody said back there, it looks kind of like a manatee. And the the eyes and the ears have started to project more. They're not bumps anymore. The arms are tiny buds and they're forming. They will eventually grow to arms and legs, but they're still bumps. We aren't near as funny as you guys, just so you know.
It was all gel, baby.
Yeah.
All gel.
We did have a PowerPoint, but it's
Yes,
not
it's good.
uploading, and it has like little graphics and stuff.
That's okay. We'll put it up.
All right, that's all we got.
If you'll try sending it to me on Canvas, because for whatever reason it's not coming through on, just try Canvas. Yes, if you'll, yes, as you guys finish your your presentation, if you created a board, I'm gonna take them and put them on the walls, okay? They will stay up through the test. Interesting. So, but I will put them up on the walls for the ones who created them. And then after we're done with this part of the semester, if you want to take it home as a remembrance, you can. If you want to leave it for next year's groups, because actually level 1 will be doing this in the spring. So they'll be doing it the first 2 weeks because maternity is all incorporated in the second semester instead of the third semester. So it will just kind of be incorporated little bits and pieces, but that actual, like this part of it, conception, labor, all that will just be in levels in the second semester, level 2. So I'll be doing this again in the spring.
Did you get my email?
I did. Are y'all next?
No, 24 to 31.
Okay. Who's next? Let's see. Valerie, or wait, no, yeah, sorry. Leighton, Sage, and Morgan. I almost skipped y'all.
The water's everywhere, Jeff.
Is mine second?
Okay.
I think it is too. It doesn't make sense to me, but
Yeah,
whatever.
go ahead. They're real oranges. They're not big.
The kidney.
I just got big oranges.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Okay, we have 7 to 8 weeks. At 7 weeks, your baby head is round and nearly erect. The eyes are shifted closer together and eyelids are beginning to form. The palate is near completion. The tongue is developing in the formed mouth. The GI and GU tracts separate into 2 tubular structures. Intestines enter the extra embryonic, I don't know how to say this word, colon, in the area of the umbilical cord, and it's also called umbilical herniation. Beginning of all internal and external structures are present, and your baby is the size of a blueberry. At 8 weeks, the embryo is approximately 3 centimeters in the size and shape of a kidney bean. which I think is smaller than a blueberry. So
Some
doesn't it
blueberries
seem to
are
be-
smaller. I think those are massive blueberries. compared to-
Like we were like just holding them together. We were just like,
Yeah, if you look at wild blueberries, they're
okay, so it's the size of a wild blueberry. It clearly resembles a human at this point. Facial features continue to develop. The eyelids are fused. Articles of the external ears begin to assume final shape. External genitals appear, but sex is not clearly identifiable. Rectal passage opens with perforation of the anal membrane. Circulatory system through the umbilical cord is well established. Long bones are beginning to form and the large muscles are now able to retract. The heartbeat is first detected at 8 weeks by Doppler. At the end of 8 weeks, the embryo is now developed into a fetus. Every organ system and external structure that will be found in a newborn for full-term baby will be present. The remaining of the gestation is devoted to refining structures and perfecting functions. This is a 7-week-old fetus, and this is 8 weeks. The only difference is this thing, this lump, and they just become more formed. This is all fused together, and this one kind of grows out. So this is a 7-week ultrasound. The mother's uterus is the size of a grapefruit and fully fills the pelvis. The mom's going to be experiencing morning sicknesses, weight changes and fluctuations, bloating, gas, or constipation. They're going to begin to have food cravings. They might have a heightened sense of smell. Their breasts are changing. They might have some tenderness and stuff like that. They might have occasional vaginal spotting. Usually when the first appointment occurs is about 8 weeks. And then your HCG levels are between 7,650 and 229,000, which is a huge range.
Okay, so teratogenics. So alcohol, most at risk for fetal complications at 3 to 8 weeks gestation. You can have fetal alcohol syndrome and premature births. Substances such as smoking can cause low birth, premature birth, and birth defects of mouth and lips. Caffeine, low birth weight, drinking more than 3 cups of coffee a day or greater than 150 milligrams can result in spontaneous abortions. Medications such as anticonvulsants can cause heart defects and growth retardation. Warfarin is the most teratogenic at 6 to 9 weeks, can cause bleeding in the fetus, causing stillborn and miscarriages. Yep, that word. What's the next one? Perfect. Cause problems with baby muscle and the skeletal growth. Methotrexate, is that what you say? Causes fetal death and birth abnormalities. Cleft palate and cleft lip is a possibility during this stage, and teratogenics cause this.
So I wrote down some fun facts for you guys. On the fetus, the taste buds actually start to form around 8 weeks. And then most of their body parts are already formed, but their fingers and their toes are webbed. Thought that was pretty interesting. And then their arms are actually longer than their legs because their upper extremities grow faster than their lower extremities. Another fun fact is the baby is not getting nutrients from the placenta because it's still developing. It's actually getting its nutrients from the yolk sac. And then the fetus, which Sage mentioned, is called at 8 weeks called a fetus rather than an embryo. And by now, the mother will have missed her second period. And miscarriage is still really high during 7 to 8 weeks. So we kind of wrote down some things to eliminate miscarriage. Not that you can, but you can try. Eliminate drinking, toxic substances, heavy lifting, and for most of us, this is not going to happen, but long working hours without rest. And that's really all we have, I think.
So I was just gonna point out, so she mentioned how the yolk sac, so actually in that top picture, you see that bulge, that's the yolk sac, that's still there. That's where the baby's getting its nutrition from until that next week when the placenta takes over. So, yeah, so they have a yolk sac present, and that's what they're getting their nutrition from until the placenta is fully developed.
On the ultrasound, it shows the yolk sac.
Yeah, you can actually, so this is of course a drawing, but if you have a pretty, like they have some 4D pictures of early, and you can actually
What
see.
it's attached to?
Oh, I
thought that top one.
Nope, that one, that
Like, you
bulge.
probably could see it, but this is like a picture
Yeah.
of somebody's
Yeah.
ultrasound.
But if you have a pretty good ultrasound done, and they do 4D pictures, you can actually see the yolk sac on the baby. Yep, and usually like if you have a pretty early ultrasound at like 5 weeks or 4 to 5 weeks, they'll see like the fetal pole and the yolk sac is usually what you're gonna see predominantly.
A lot of times their doctor wants you to wait until about 8 weeks.
Yeah, to do an ultrasound because it's more accurate dating. 8 to 12 weeks is the best dating ultrasound date.
So you should call your. But you should call your doctor as soon as you find out you're pregnant.
Yeah. It is not free fruit, but that's okay.
Okay, so we're doing a fetus from 9 to 11 weeks. At 9 weeks, every organ system and external structure is present. And at the end of 9 weeks, the crown and the rump is 5 to 6 centimeters. So 5 to 6, 5 to 6. So that's about 2 inches. And it weighs 14 grams, so about 0.5 ounces. And it's the size of a cherry. It's so small.
Then here's some pictures of what it would look like.
Yeah, no ultrasound. So as you can see, it's more form, still small, but more form.
And then this is the end of the embryo period. You can hear their fetal heart rate through an ultrasound Doppler, and it's 140 to 170 beats per minute. The sex development occurs here, and the male production of testosterone and sex characteristics are formed, and then their bladder sac is formed also.
Okay, so as I said before, the head is large and it actually takes up about half of the body. It's bigger than the body. In the nervous system, neurons appear at the caudal end of the spinal cord. And then in the musculoskeletal system, fingers and toenails begin to grow at this time. And in the GI system, the mouth separates into lips from the jaw. The fusion of the palate, so from the hard and soft palate, begin to reduce. There's a development of intestines, and they become intestinal.
Then you have pterodogenics, cocaine and heroin and alcohol. So cocaine would cause cerebral infarction and intrauterine growth restriction, and then it can cause a stillbirth. Heroin, it causes increased chance of breech positioning and having uterine growth restriction. And then alcohol would cause microcephaly and cardiac.
So I also did like a food.
Yeah.
You guys want to go on that? You can. It's just
Can you come put your password back in? Because when I went and clicked on it, it said it was.
We have a price.
your prize is that you're smart.
I'll pull out a candy bucket later. Well, the next few lectures will have a lot of Kahoot in them. They probably will.
You're smart, but I'm smart.
Play.
Oh, you're smart.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, probably want to put your board down so they can see that.
We're gonna give them a hard time.
Coming on. Christy, do you want to play the Kahoot? Let me share my screen.
So download, go to Kahoot.
Yep.
Get that out.
Or you can get the app either way. Faster do the website right now and then download the, because we probably last lecture would have had some Kahoot, but because, you know, I had COVID. Sorry. Next lecture, I think is, I have a lot of Kahoot already. Creative.
Your class video.
There's Manny, there's Manny 1, where's Manny 2?
How much time did you give us to answer?
20, 30 seconds.
Got everybody logged in. Still got a couple working.
And it's just 10 questions, so not that.
Anybody else logging in? Okay, the baby is the size of a cherry. That's the name of the game. True or false?
Who said false?
And then just so you click next. Let's see who's ahead. T-Rex. Okay, multiple select, more than one answer. What occurs in the GI system at 9 to 11 weeks? Select all and apply. Good job.
So its lips separate from jaw and intestines are enclosed in the abdomen and development of the intestines.
Where the smiley is.
Okay, what occurs in the musculoskeletal system during 9 week? 9 to 11 weeks. The fingernails and toenails begin to grow. Put it down.
True or false?
Male fetus begin to produce testosterone.
And the answer is true. It was. I think their sex organs are already developed, so that's part of the development of the rest of them.
True or false? A 9 weeks organ systems are halfway through their development.
They're already developed.
It's in pink if you guys were looking for it. It literally 9 weeks, everything's present. Say true or false? At 9 to 11 weeks, the fetus head is larger than the body.
Good job.
Multi-select. What are side effects of alcohol use? Select all that apply.
That'd be a good test question.
And if you guys studied her PowerPoint, it's also in there.
That's probably why I said it's a good test question. I'm sure it's probably.
It was all of them. They're right like on the like 200 and page 277 with cocaine and all that stuff. But it is all of them. We mostly know that it causes microcephaly and cardiac anomalies, but it does cause mental retardation and intrauterine restriction.
Ooh.
True or false? A 9 to 11 weeks neurons begin to appear at the end of the spinal cord. It is true. Okay. What occurs in the GU system at 9 to 11 weeks?
Look here, let me help you out. Oh, the bladder is formed.
Okay, last one. The multi-select. What sexual development occurs during the 9 to 11 weeks gestation? Okay, it was actually production of male characteristics and external genitals appear because it happens like at the end of the 9 weeks, but it kind of does fall into the 8 weeks as well. So the one in blue overlaps, but mostly production of male characteristics happens to 9 to 11.
Because they pretty much look identical until then.
And that's it.
Yay, let's see who won.
Ready.
Yay, good job. Okay.
Hey, look, the runner up.
Danny and me too. Okay. Yes, we did. It's a video, you said? Yeah. When do you want it? Whenever. Okay, well, wait, I'm gonna turn off the.
Okay, so we have 12 to 16 weeks. So at 12 weeks, the baby is a size of a lime, and it is 2 to 2.25 inches long, and it weighs 0.5 ounces.
You got 28 more weeks to go. It is end of first trimester into second trimester. And at this point, the vital organs are now fully formed. The bone marrow is busy making white blood cells. And so there's a new symptom that mom will experience at 12 weeks, and that is dizziness. And there's another one. It's due to progesterone causes blood vessels to relax, and that makes the baby's the blood flow to the baby increases, and then it slows the return of blood to mom. So that's why a lot of moms start to experience the dizziness, low blood pressure, lightheaded, low blood sugars as well. Like I said, it's the size of a lime, and then things to avoid is alcohol. Like everybody already said it, it occurs the fetal alcohol syndrome and other ones. And then also try to or not to eat a lot of like raw fish, because they are high in mercury. That can also cause it can harm the baby's brain and vision. And unpasteurized cheese, they can cause bacteria in the babies, the fetus. And some tips, they recommend pregnant moms to get the flu shot. There has been studies that moms that come in contact with the flu can actually die from the swine flu. So that's why it's highly recommended to get the flu shot. And start doing Kegels to make those muscles strong. It's never too late to start Kegels, even after, but you can start doing Kegels then. And also stay really hydrated. And like I said, we know which foods to avoid, which I already kind of went over it, but yeah, that's actual weeks.
So at week 14, the fetus is 3.5 to 4 inches long and weighs 2 ounces. And due to brain impulses, the body is going to start to make face expressions. And the little fetus is going to start to move the little fingers and toes, and it's going to be like more active. But since it's really little, the mom won't feel it. So it's going to start moving. The vocal cords are complete at this time, and the baby is going to start urinating. Also, you should avoid drinking alcohol and smoking, because smoking can cause SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, and it's the size of a Jello lemon.
I have 16 weeks. The baby is about 4.5 inches and weighs about 3.5 ounces. This is when you can also determine the gender, and mom can also feel quickening at 16 weeks. And the baby's about the size of an avocado. This is not the size of an avocado, but I thought it's a really cute avocado. Thank you. We do have some fun facts. The baby can cry in the womb, which I thought was cool. I had to like look it up in different websites to make sure it was true. The baby can hiccup in the womb, joints loosen during pregnancy, and the mom's feet can actually grow bigger during pregnancy. And another fun fact that Yulisa did say that the baby can pee in the womb as well, and we have a video to show you guys. I don't want to do that today.
So this video was when I was pregnant. The doctor did an ultrasound, and he said it was the first time he actually catches a baby peeing in the womb. So you can see it very clear. It's my video. She's gonna play it. It's my baby, my son. Yeah.
Waiting for the- Okay.
So the picture's like from the bottom, from the butt.
Let me see. Number one. Oh, wait, hold on. Then go back for now. So there's the penis. There goes the pee. That is so cool. I've never seen that before.
Like sell it for like educational.
That's really cool. Okay, awesome. Good job.
We also just have like a quick little activity. We need 4 volunteers. If not, we're gonna choose.
Okay, well, we got two, we got Valerie, anybody else? Want to
Ready?
Oh, Letty.
Tape. Hold on, wait, let me look down here. Yep, no tape. Nelly, can I save that?
Yeah, of course, you can have it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna have to charge that. Manny gave me the idea.
I did.
You guys want them up here?
Oh,
Will you guys come up here? So we're just doing, pin the placenta on the baby, and whoever gets close, or I guess whoever's volunteering will get, chocolate. So you'll have to spin, close your eyes, we didn't bring a blindfold, I guess you can just use your thing. So you have to, I guess you can glance at it real quick. And just spin a couple times, here's the pin, hold on. I'm gonna give you the pin before you get this. The pin right there. Okay. Spin a couple times and then you can pin the placenta. There you go.
Left, left.
Right. Don't pin it, give me some.
Up, Manny, up.
You guys tell me.
Wait, no, up.
How you?
I don't, the umbilical cord is a little like twisty. Normally they're not that twisty.
They can be.
I've seen one that was, it was actually pretty
Yep.
cool.
I've seen them where they're way twisted and then some that have no twists.
Help us get that out.
Yeah. ¿O lo quitamos?
Hold on, baby.
You can't feel.
Oh, please.
And step everywhere. Yeah, I have to do a couple things. So that,
Nowhere.
Over there.
Perfect.
We can't feel, you said?
No.
Okay.
There's really nothing to feel, so.
It's like I want to feel, but I'm scared. I don't know.
Good job. So maybe, or who did this one? And Ally, I guess I'll be. There's the worst one. And I was
Good job. Okay. Okay. Next is Christy and Letty. So.
Yes.
Okay, Christy, I'm putting you on the big screen.
Oh, don't do that.
Two. Yeah. You gotta be
No,
on the
no.
big screen with everybody else. Hi, Christy.
Hi.
Yep. Erica, stop
Is my son's Zoom like coming through?
Oh, no.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Manny, I can only see you because of the way she has the camera. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see you.
There we go. How's that?
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so Christy and I will be presenting to you the fetal development between 17 and 23 weeks. Okay, so during the second trimester, the baby is the cluster of cells and sorry, I can't do that. Okay, so the class question is, at 17 weeks, the size of the fetus is comparable to a, anybody know? Okay, great job, Abby. So, Abby gets a pair, and she'll tell you guys the baby's ounces and
Yeah.
It's like,
Okay, so it's 5.12 inches and 4.94 ounces.
So, during this stage of development, it's starting to develop fingers and toenails. It's continuing to make fat tissues, bones, and muscles, and it's starting to make sucking movements with the mouth. And the mom may experience strange dreams, weight gain, and she may feel like an increase of fluid in her body. And the heart is pumping around 100 pints of blood each day, the baby's heart. And so for 18 weeks, the size of an 18-week fetus is comparable to a, anybody know?
Kumquat?
No. Potato. Great job, Tanya. And all these fruits and vegetables, I don't know, they're all different sizes, so I just try to make proportional.
5.5 inches and 6.7 ounces.
During this stage of the development, ears begin to stand out on the sides of the head and may begin to hear sounds. They're starting to learn their sleep patterns, and they begin to form melon, which is an insulating layer or sleeve that forms around the nerves and is made up of protein and fatty substances. This allows electrical impulses to transmit quickly and efficiently along nerve cells. And it's also the ultrasound week to find out what you're having. And sometimes early on, the mom may begin to start to feel the baby move.
And so 19 weeks, the size of the fetus is comparable to, does anybody know?
Mango.
Mango. Good job, Zenny. So there wasn't a mango, so I just take the two apples together.
So the baby is about 6 inches and 8.4 ounces.
Yes, and so here, the baby develops protective coating, which is the vernix, and it starts to cover the entire body. We read the primary teeth are starting to develop and sensory organs are developing at a rapid pace. So the mom may feel ligament or hip pain, leg cramps, and dizziness and lightheadedness. And for girls, their uterus and vaginal canal are forming. Christy, do you want me to go, or do you want it to go?
If you can do the next part, like the question part, and then I can read the rest because I can't quite hear.
Okay, so at 20 weeks,
the fetus is comparable to, does anybody know? Grapefruit. No, sorry.
No.
Does anybody know?
Banana.
Banana. Good job.
No, you said it though.
Nelly said it first.
Nelly said it. Okay.
Okay, so at 20 weeks, it is 10.5 inches and 10 ounces.
During this stage of development, the fetus the vernix continues to cover the skin and hair follicles are getting longer. This protects baby from skin abrasions, chapping, and hardening that can result from exposure from the amniotic fluid. The baby is sleeping regularly and waking up, and the females will start to develop human egg cells, and the male testes will start an abdomen getting ready to descend downwards. The mom may start to feel shortness of breath, swelling, high burst of energy at times, and quickening. And you are at your halfway point. You're almost done.
And so at 21 weeks, the fetus's size is comparable to, does anybody know? Bulky carrot. Bulky carrot. Good job, birthday girl. And so I didn't want to just bring a carrot, so I had
Carrots are good.
Yeah, but it's gonna get all gross if it wasn't.
Yeah, that's true.
So it is 10.58 inches and 12 ounces. And so during this stage of development, the baby is completely covered in lanugo and their sucking reflex has developed. The pancreas is starting to make enzymes. The small intestine is starting to absorb nutrients from the amniotic fluid, and the eyelids are starting to separate. And the mom may feel some more leg cramps or a little bit of vaginal discharge. And so 22 weeks, the size of the fetus is comparable to, does anybody know? Squash. Good job. These are big squashes, so.
It's a spaghetti squash.
Yeah.
It's 15 ounces and 11 inches.
During this stage, the fetus has eyebrows and hair that are more visible. Brown fat is forming, which is the site of where heat production comes from, and tear ducts are developing. The heartbeat can be heard with a stethoscope. And for boys, the testes have begun to descend, and the body is making and taking in calcium for bones and teeth, and their hands can move independently. Mom may start to feel Braxton Hicks contractions and heartburn.
And so at 23 weeks, the baby is starting to, oh, sorry. Does anybody know what the fetus is compared to at 23 weeks? Grapefruit. And there was not a grapefruit, so I got a bigger squash.
Sorry, dude.
Pound 11.4 inches.
And so the fetus is starting to respond to light, begins to have rapid eye movement, may begin to hiccup, so it causes more like advanced jerking movements. The brain is starting to develop more quickly. The fingernails reach the end of their fingers, and surfactant is being produced. And bone marrow has begun to produce RBCs on its own. And so the mom may feel lingering backaches and swollen ankles.
And there are quite a number of things that are harmful to your baby, even though they are in the safest place. During the first trimester, the fetus is at the highest risk for abnormalities due to fetal organ developing. TORCH is an acronym that can help you remember the most common tetragenic viruses, parasites, and bacteria, as we learned in our OB lectures. Ionizing radiation like X-rays and gamma rays can be harmful. The highest risk is associated with higher doses again in the first trimester. Hyperthermia can be tetragenic during pregnancy, and toxic mules and chemicals can pose threats to a developing fetus, such as mercury, lead, and PCBs.
And so we read that these potential, I can't really say it, the teratogens can cause malformations of the heart, limbs, eyes, and other organs. But it just depends on the fetal genotype, the maternal genome, the stage of development which it occurs, and the dose and duration of the agent. The end.
Good job.
Good job, Letty.
Okay, let's take a quick 5-minute break. Okay, empty your bladder. We'll come back at, let's say, so we're gonna do 7 minutes, so 9:50. I'm sorry, 9:55, that would be 8 minutes. And then we will continue on. We'll do 9:55, we'll get about 12 minutes.
I could have not. I could have never had time back there.
And they're not the same as
Okay, measure and then put the thing in and just tell us.
I don't know if it's
Those are my apples. I have a lot of apples.
yeah. Oh, so you take this
I want those, knowing the size of the mango. I like how many this looks.
I'll finish and then week one.
I'll go wash it first, not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's like something
I'll tell like the way I.
and tape.
And then after we're almost done, I'll toss it over. I'm nervous.
Yeah, we should. What time did you say to be back? 55 or 50? Yeah, 5:50. Yeah. So the screws work. Yeah. Tomorrow. For sure.
And why? Why though? I don't get it.
I don't either, that's why.
I was just trying to give someone. Did they know who was thicker?
Yeah.
Because of that is, I was just trying to. But I don't get it. I don't know what she's
Buddy, you picked some good apples.
Yeah. I tried to find big ones to make it actually the size.
Is this a honeycrisp?
No idea. I think it looks like one though. That's what I looked at.
You answered right away though.
You said it just first.
What is that?
Sunfish.
That's why you never say I asked them.
Did I hate the ocean? It's disgusting looking.
I just want to go to the beach once, just to say I done it, but then never go back again.
Why? You scared?
No, it's just, I heard that you get sand and it like everywhere and.
Went to San Diego. We went to, oh my gosh, yeah, I went to the ocean and it was a lot of fun, but yeah, I had sand like literally like for days. It was like I like showered 4 times and I still had sand. Like I still have sand.
One by one. That's the next time you feel like getting up at 2 in the morning to clean.
No, I didn't get up.
It'll give you plenty of work.
Like I didn't sleep.
I always wake up around.
You wake up at 2:30.
Yeah, like for some reason, like I'm sleeping, but I don't know, I just wake up and I look at the time and it's 2:30. And then I go back to it.
And then I'll just say this, exactly, right?
I know. I'm trying to like look up all the measurements.
Okay.
What kind of getting the
The timer on here, so like we can change it whenever we want. Never mind, it's already set. We're not ready. Just making everything up.
Whatever you want. I always like to play a game while we're on.
You get it?
We're gonna hide the little baby.
I'm nervous. Hurry up.
I'm thinking.
Look, I like this dance because you can see my tattoo. Is that normal?
Yeah.
I was like, that it didn't look like that this morning.
Yeah, it has to peel and then your skin.
I was thinking, like, some little, he pulled it up.
Your best friend. I'm worried about right now with your space. No, like everyone did it just. You understood my.
I saw these babies. I have them on my thing camera. You got these? Oh, God. I wonder if I could color it. Yeah.
I know, that's what I said. I was like, oh.
I'm trying to remember if I posted it on my.
I started out getting that it went downhill.
My eye was teaching. A baby in a balloon? Okay, yeah.
That's what I saw. I don't know what it was.
I said I was also gonna bring the baby that I had, like the baby that I had, inside of a balloon with water and like a little placenta thing. I know with all the balloons. I didn't put water in this.
It was really light, but I could do it.
I'll cut it, but no, I won't cut it. I'll just take them out.
What was the workout?
It was maybe 40, 30
¿Qué dice si esto es
4 times? 4 times?
I saw that.
So the doubles and the abs? The jump rope?
I don't remember. It's already.
But I forgot what it was. I was like, oh no, Quattro.
Never examined.
Share pictures with me. So I can have them for next year.
Did anyone take pictures of Joe at the? Or this one maybe.
I have him from the side on video because I'm recording the. We'll see if it. Hey, y'all have a PowerPoint, right?
Yeah.
There's like 2 slides that have a little noise just for.
Okay. The volume.
And then I didn't know if they had like a time. I went to click it. I don't know if it has a time on there or.
Okay.
We're not doing talking yet.
Clicker. To the side, to the right there. Okay, we have 24 to 31 weeks now.
Okay, so me and Evelyn have 24 to 31 weeks. The baby has taste buds, so he can taste. He's 1.3 pounds and 11.5 inches.
Okay, so this is our project. There's the fetus in there and a placenta and the umbilical cord. And then this is supposed to be the belly, but it kind of looks more like a sock, I think. That's okay. I was gonna put like the amniotic fluid, but it's gonna soak through, so I didn't do that. Here, at this age, the baby they're thin, so their skin is translucent. So right here, I just put like a little. I put a little. What are these things called? The little yeah, one of those things. I put one of those things without like fully like making the arm. It's just there.
You did it?
I'll pass it around at the end. Yeah. And then he is supposedly the size of an ear of corn. Not this one, but like at this age, they're supposedly the size of the corn. So you can look to this one.
At 25 weeks, fat starts to deposit under the skin, but the skin is still wrinkled and the baby's 13 inches and 1.5 pounds.
So on the other side of this fetus, this arm has more skin on it. So, and like more fat, like it's bigger than this other side. And I kind of made him, like, I didn't color him correctly just because he is wrinkled. So, I mean, the patchy colors kind of makes it look wrinkly. And then hair is coming in at this time. And he's supposedly the size of a rutabaga. So he's gonna move up.
Yeah, 26 weeks, the baby is able to hear and the amniotic fluid is being inhaled and exhaled, and he's like 2 pounds and 14 inches.
Okay, so at this age, he is developing like his lungs, like he's breathing more. And he is the size of a bunch of scallions.
Oh, is it not making a noise?
Well, I mean, I already made a noise, but I'm just trying to change it. Oh, there we go. 27 weeks, opening and closing of eyes. The brain is active, and he's 14.5 inches and 2 pounds.
At this is like the end of the second trimester. The baby is starting to sleep and wake up more. His brain is more active, and his lungs aren't fully developed yet. And he's the size of a cauliflower. So I put googly eyes in there so that he can open his eyes, have his eyes open. I keep calling it a he, but it's a
Me
she.
too.
I
Oh, it's a
tried,
she?
yeah, it's a she. I made it incorrect. Anatomy, what is that word called?
Anatomically.
Okay, it's a she.
Because it was easier to do that. So at this age, also like the mom is peeing more and she has like more leg cramps because the fetus is like pressing on the nerves.
At 28 weeks, the eyelashes have formed and she is able to blink. She is 2.25 pounds and 15 inches.
So here again, whenever I pass it around, you'll see like I drew some little eyelashes on her. She can see the light. So like if you turn the lights on, like she's able to see that in the belly now. She blinks and supposedly she's the size of an eggplant.
At 29 weeks, the head is bigger than the body. The muscles and lungs continue to develop. And it's 15.5 to 16 inches, or 2.3 to 3 pounds.
So here it says, I put down that the lungs are kind of like at 28 weeks, if we go back to that 28 weeks, the lungs are like more developed. So if the baby is born at 28 weeks, it could like the survival rate is like higher. So like 80% to 90%. Right here, this one, the head is larger than the body. So I try to make it really big. And she's the size of the butternut squash.
At 30 weeks, respond to changes in light and 3 pounds and 16 inches.
30 weeks. There's like a lot of amniotic fluid in there. The baby is bigger, it's growing bigger, so it like fits less in the stomach. And it's the size of a large cabbage.
31 weeks, the limbs and joints are flexible, head can turn from side to side. The kicks are noticeable, there's more fat deposits, and at 16 inches and 3.2 pounds.
Yeah. At this age, the fetus is the size of a coconut.
And then teratogens or anything that's going to be harmful during the pregnancy into the baby. So at this point, if they were to be delivered or when they do get delivered, they're going to be dependent on the substance, which can cause NAS, which is neonatal abstinence syndrome. And then they can have withdrawals, high-pitched cries, seizures, and anomalies.
Good job, good job.
Does anybody want to volunteer to come measure the baby, the fetus? And look at it, because it's kind of cursed.
That's funny. Kind of cursed.
I tried to make it, like, from here.
Well, you can leave your cursed fetus here for next year to see.
Turn the other way. I try to make it the same, like about the same size as it's like a real fetus.
Looks like it's about.
But I mean, that's as good as I can get it.
How did you make it?
Show us.
Clay. It's so heavy, dude.
It does. It's,
Did you say use clay?
Oh, yeah.
don't
Does
smell
not smell
it.
good. It really is kind of cursed.
And then like you could see it. Well, I mean, it's not there anymore because I painted over it.
Oh, I thought you meant like. It has a little butthole.
Oh
That's a
my
butthole?
God.
Yeah. And then like it can move his arms. This is the umbilical cord. This is the placenta. Okay.
Other arm.
So I'll pass my cursed fetus around. Just don't smell it. It kind of stinks.
Okay, Heidi and S Young, get ready while everybody's looking at the cursed baby. Oh, okay, y'all are ready.
So we had the 32 weeks to 37 weeks. And at this stage, the baby is the size of a you guys know, to the picture on it. It's a jicama fruit. The length is 31 centimeters down to the crown to heel. And it's weighing 2,000 grams. So it's 4 pounds. The nervous system, with the nervous system, there's more reflexes. The baby has the fingernails and toenails. The subcutaneous fat is being laid down. The baby appears less red and wrinkled. Lungs are not fully matured. The bones are soft and flexible, and the fetus stores calcium, iron, and phosphorus. And for the mom, her symptoms would be lower back pain, shortness of breath, and heartburn, and an increase of 40 to 50% of blood volume. And then the belly shifts the center of gravity. So on the 33 weeks, it's the size of a, and it's technically like your 8th month. The skull is infused together. Movement is normal. And at this stage, the mom is having trouble sleeping, feeling some achiness, numbness in fingers, wrists, and hands, by tissue retaining fluid and increased libido. Yeah. So she see that the husband is really happy during this stage. And on 34 weeks, just like we can help. And the fetus is getting rounder with fat to help the body regulate temperature. It starts to see color, and the color is red. And the mother is feeling fatigue, dizziness, itchy, rash, frequent pee breaks.
Then at 35 weeks, the baby is as big as a honeydew melon. It's about 18¼ inch long and about 5.25 pounds. A quarter of amniotic fluid is there. Kidneys are fully developed, and the liver can process waste products. The physical developments are not complete in this stage. Becomes
plump and less wrinkled. The lanugo begins to disappear at this stage. The nails reach the end of the fingertips and firm grasp in response to light. The mom can experience heartburn, bloating, clumsiness due to the weight imbalance, and the joints are looser to get ready for delivery. At 36 weeks, the baby is as big as a head of romaine lettuce. The length is about 35 centimeters. The weight is about 2,500 to 2,750 grams, or about 5 pounds, 12 ounces to 6 pounds and 11.5 ounces. The baby at this time has a high survival rate, but will need special care if it was delivered at this time. The musculoskeletal system, the distal femoral ossification centers present. In the skin, it's pale, the body's round, the hair is fuzzy or woolly. There's like sebaceous glands are active and helping to produce the vernix. Sedosa, I think is what it is. Ears, there's the earlobes are soft with little cartilage. Sexual development, the male scrotum is small and has some rugae. The female, the Libyan minora and majora are equally prominent and the head is down. The mom will have signs like precautional signs of eclampsia, which would include like decreased appetite, low abdomen pressure, maybe signs of labor is imminent. At 37 weeks, the baby's as big as Swiss chard bunch, which is like a type of lettuce. The pictures are here too. The mom can experience Braxton Hicks contractions and they'll feel the baby can smile at this time, and the liver, lungs, eyes, ears need more weeks to fully function. The brain grows by 1/3 between now and birth. The mom can have vaginal discharge or spotting, and some of the teratogenic effects during this time, most of them is going to cause like preterm labor, such as like some herbs to avoid during this time is chamomile is unsafe to use during pregnancy as it can cause miscarriages, but it's unsure of the effects when breastfeeding, but it's just safe to avoid it because there's not a whole lot of information. The herb pennyroyal is unsafe to use during pregnancy or to use as like a oil while breastfeeding, just because it has evidence to lead to abortions because of the uterine contractions. And the dose needed to cause the abortion could also kill the mother in the process or cause lifelong kidney or liver damage. Blue cohosh or blue ginseng is used to aid in stimulating the uterus in pregnancy or to help non-pregnant women with menstrual periods, but is unsafe to use during pregnancy as the chemicals found in it cause birth defects for the fetus, such as severe heart problems. And the mom can also suffer from high blood sugar and really bad blood pressure and an allergic reaction to that herb and should be avoided.
And then gestational diabetes is also dangerous despite the mother's best efforts in changing diet or other treatment options. In this last trimester, can increase the risk of preeclampsia and shorter length of gestation. And then the street drugs that we do not recommend: cocaine, ecstasy, heroin, marijuana, and prescription drugs that are abused. Babies born to moms who use street drugs during pregnancy can have these complications: premature birth, low birth weight, birth defects, neonate, absence syndrome, and AS, group of condition that a baby can have if its mother uses addictive drugs during pregnancy and the baby goes through withdrawal after birth. And during the stage, you can still have a preech.
And then for our group activity, we have another Kahoot for you. And we have a prize for the winner.
Oh, I gotta log back in. Yes, you can put your password back in.
Okay.
Okay, there's your code. While everybody's logging in, I just got an email from Susan and just asking you guys to hang around till noon. We have a meeting with our ASIN accrediting body and KSBN. So if you can stay and just talk as a student and praise us very much, please. Then they just have questions for you. If y'all can stay, please, as many as you can. It shouldn't last more than 30 minutes to 45 minutes. It'll be short. It's at noon. And I believe. Yes, it'll be in this classroom. I just reminded.
Does anyone need some more time logging on?
I think there's some that are work.
What's your name?
Serías, me cambian.
Okay. I will let them know that they need to. Okay. Yeah, and that's what I told them.
You guys ready? Did you get it, Manny? Okay. Here we go, y'all.
How many questions?
There's just 6. We kept it simple.
Skull and crossbones. I know that's not.
Yes. Ooh. Getting close.
Let's hope it's not. That baby's got to come out of that vagina. I'm assuming that's her haunted fetus. And at 36 weeks.
Good. Glad everyone got it.
We're actually gonna watch that. 35 weeks.
The last question.
Okay, let's see who won.
Good job.
Okay.
That's cute.
Manny and Allie.
First,
Oh.
we have a volunteer come and measure the fundal height. So if she can tell us what week we're in, hopefully.
Big emphasis to the fun.
How to do it. Can you help me?
Yes, so.
Pubic
Good. You start down here at the pubis symphysis, and then you go all the way up to the fundus.
Oh.
38 to 40, and that's our presentation.
That's our presentation.
So here we have Miss Ari. You can see. Sorry, I'm Grande.
Oh my God.
So, we're gonna do a little skit for you guys. All right, so she's laying down, and we're both nurses. Hi, Miss Ari, how are you doing today? This is me and Allie, and we're your nurses that are gonna be taking care of you today. She feels fine. As you can see right here, on the fetal heart strip, you can't really see it, but it's showing normal contractions and normal fetal heart rate. Which
Good
is,
A cells.
yeah, good A cells and all that stuff. Because if you remember from Fetal Chop, A cells means A-OK, or like oxygenation. She's doing good right now. Oh no, what is that? Oh, the water broke. Oh no, we're gonna have to do a batch check on you, Miss Ariana. Nurse Allie, can you assist me?
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay, I'm gonna do a sterile batch check. I have my gloves on,
and I'll check the Toco.
and I'm just gonna check how dilated she is. Oh no, I feel a cord.
You feel the cord?
I feel a cord.
Oh no, look, there's a cord. And her Toco replacement's good because that's what you want to check first from least intervention to most. And so now she looks like she's receiving, or she has variation. And if you remember from veal chop, it's cord compression. And it would make sense because she's having prolapse. So with her hand still in there, we're gonna have to take her to OR stat because we don't want to make sure baby's in distress. And then at the same time, the fluid is still coming out. And you got like bits of lanugo that have already been shed, and meconium, and some more amniotic fluid. So we're in the OR now, and we're doing a C-section. We're not going to do a C-section here but just pretend we did a C-section. So I'll take this baby out here. Here it is. So,
Nice. About 10 weeks.
yeah, so she gave birth and everything, and then the placenta came out. And the placenta is right here somewhere. This is the placenta. So, it's still attached to the baby. It's yeah.
Maybe I could have it.
You what?
I could have it if you want to give.
So anyways, that's our little skit. We'll read off what happens in those weeks here.
Okay, so feeding, sleeping, and activity patterns have been established. The areola gets bigger as the hormone releases
And that's what
to
that is.
stimulate production of milk. Okay, so the types of teratogens, physical agents, hyperthermia, ionizing agents, radiation,
Yeah.
metabolic conditions, obesity, preeclampsia, and gestational diabetes, infections, the torch, and
What is the torch?
toxoplasmosis, rubella, cytomegalovirus, herpes, varicella, syphilis, and STIs. And then drugs and chemicals would be ACE inhibitors, alcohol, and cocaine.
So these would all be teratogenic agents.
And then also during this time, the baby lowers into the pelvis, and it reduces upper abdominal pressure, and the amniotic sac around the baby usually ruptures.
So like around this time, and that's why we showed the rupturing, because around this time everything's formed, everything's as all the previous stuff was shown. So this stage is really just getting ready for delivery. So that's why the baby goes down and there's like more pressure, and that she feels, like she's breathing and breathing and breathing and breathing. But so she breathes easier, and then so yeah, and like I said, it ruptures around this time, around 40-ish weeks. But in this case, she prolapsed, so that was bad.
Prolapse is bad. Yes. Okay, good job. Now we're gonna find out what happens if you go past 40 weeks. Nobody wants to go past 40 weeks. But it happens.
She asked first. I think, and I was
There's candy here.
Just throw it. I can throw it. Yeah, one can.
Beach Nessa for candy. I need to do that. I need to start drawing candy more.
Okay, so as we can see, Abby's belly is much bigger than Allie's one.
Abby's post-term.
So the first.
It looks so cute.
The first thing we have for you guys is a game. So we need like 3 people to come up here, and then Abby will explain it. Okay.
One more.
One more person.
Okay. So we're gonna pretend we're my baby shower. And you guys are gonna get
We don't have regular toilet paper, so
Yeah,
I'm sorry
you guys
about
just
that.
have to.
Rip it wherever you, however big you think her belly is, and you rip it there, and then we'll see who's right. Don't get a prize or anything, I'm sorry. You just get the prize of being right. No, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I was little, actually.
really is very big.
Amanda, can you put our PowerPoint up, please? This one first.
Oh,
that was really close.
yes. Was that him?
Like almost exactly.
Yeah, oh, wow.
So SE.
They were being optimistic for Abby, and she didn't have such a big baby in there.
I gave you a couple inches wrong. Okay, and then there's another thing. There's this old wives' tale that you can tell whether the baby, what the gender of the baby, depending on how the mother is carrying the baby. What would you guys guess the gender of her baby is?
Girl.
Down lower. It's supposed to be down lower, so it does look kind of high though. So a girl like that.
Is it accurate? No.
It's not super accurate, but it's fun. Okay.
Here's your clicker.
Thank you. Okay, so over 41 weeks, or 41 weeks and over. So at 41 weeks, 0 days to 41 weeks, 6 days, it's considered late term. So it's still like kind of normal. Like not a lot of people will go past 41 weeks, but it does happen sometimes. And then 42 weeks and beyond is post-term. So some reasons that you could have a later or a longer pregnancy would be as your first baby. It said boys for some reason are longer. If you've had a previous post-term pregnancy, if you're overweight, or if you had like a late ultrasound dating, sometimes those aren't as accurate. Can anyone tell me what the longest recorded pregnancy was? 44.
48.
So it's 375 days in 1945, which is over 12 months. There was also one, it said in China that was 18 months, but that wasn't really like verified, I guess. So very long. The one in China, she had placenta previa, and both of them, the babies were just developing very slowly. So they were just following that and decided that it was fine, I guess. And an interesting thing, Evelyn and Magali said it as well, but the fetuses can kind of like taste the food that you're eating through the amniotic fluid. Like it's not the same. They're not like tasting your tacos, but a little bit. So the growth of the baby. The growth.
So for the growth, the average is 41 weeks. Fetus measures 20.4 inches long and weighs 7.9 pounds. It would be the size of a pumpkin or a watermelon. It's gonna be larger than an average baby, and it's getting plumper, fatter, and it's growing bigger.
It's also 20.4 inches and 7.9 pounds on average. Okay, development. It's growing longer hair and nails. Its skin is drying out and it can get like leathery or kind of cracked and wrinkled. Whenever they are born, they probably will no longer have lanugo. The creases go over the entire sole of the foot. Their areola is getting a little bigger, so it's 5 to 10 millimeters at this stage, and they're getting thicker cartilage in there. Teratogens. We have the same picture that they did. So crack, cocaine, heroin, methadone, opiates can all cause low APGAR scores and neonatal abstinence syndrome. Sulfonamides or like sulfa antibiotics like Bactrim and some diabetic medications that contain glyburide, I don't know how to have sulfonamides in them. These can displace the bilirubin and they can cause high bili levels. And then nicotine can cause decreased blood flow to the fetus. It can cause neonatal abstinence syndrome, low birth weight, and preterm labor. Those are major happenings.
Is the passing of meconium in the utero. rupture of membranes, contraction, and increased chance of a C-section.
And some symptoms they might be having, like the mother might be having, is like worsening edema, heartburn, backache, headache, pain on the side of their belly, Braxton Hicks contractions, like she said, irregular contractions, stretch marks. They can have tiredness and sleeping problems. And then the last major happening that we hope would happen is birth.
Oh my God, it's coming.
On the table. We're gonna do a C-section. And baby. It's a Woody. Oh, and here's her placenta. One more slide. It is a pumpkin and Woody.
What's really cute about saying it's a puppy is that Kate, that was the former instructor, her sister is having a baby and she had a baby shower this weekend and she wore a shirt that says, "We hope it's a puppy." It was really cute. Anyways, okay, so that's all the week's gestation. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna turn on a documentary about pregnancy from PBS. If you want to work on anything that you have on Canvas that's due, ATIs or anything like that, you're welcome to do that while the documentary is going on. So you'll be in here till noon per Susan, and then at noon is when your meeting would be with Asen. Okay, I spoke with her on the phone. She would like for everyone to stay.
Is level 1 staying as well too?
The ones that are here, yes. They're doing clinicals today. So they have clinicals today, so, but they will be meeting with level 1 at the clinical site. Yes, you're not in clinicals with them today.
Is this their first time at clinicals?
Today, yesterday and today. Is their first clinical days. Y'all remember when y'all were there?
We don't have this board or nursing. And then you want to keep it, but
Yes.
just to click. That's why it's
I will set it in the sun. It'll kill the mold.
okay. You can take them. He looks better when I was since he's been laying down for a couple of days. Like he got flat. Like and the muscle
Any little pictures? No pictures that I can see
together.
for like our slide. Yeah. I know. Gives a shout out.
Hold on, Chris, I'm gonna share the screen.